Hello there, silly people on the internet. Now, I know I'm not some micro-celebrity. I'm not Pokeaim, I'm not Blunder. I'm certainly not Finchinator.
Oh, shit!
I don't have any SPLs to my name, and that's because this is strictly just a hobby to me. I've helped other people win tournaments and stuff. I've coached for people. But besides that, I'm not super big on climbing the ladder 24/7 because I like playing other games. I also like having a job and making as much money as I can. And that's not saying that only broke people play Pokemon. That's just me saying I really don't like being broke, so I work more than play Pokemon. That being said, I would say on the Dunning-Kruger graph, I'm somewhere like here. Maybe here, but if I'm being humble, maybe here. And I've been asked the question on more than one occasion, hey, Waste, or if they really know me, hey Jay, or if they really know me, Shithead. How do I get better at this game? This is like the most intrinsic strategy game of all time. Starting to learn how to play this game is insanely hard. You have to like learn this graph, and then you have to know what these mean, and then you also have to like know which goober is really good and which one's really bad, but also learning which one is viable in the tier and which one just has numbers to their name. And then also learning the mons that are both of those things, and they're both good and viable. That part is the part I can't really help you with. Kinda. That's just a time sink. That's just learning. Getting into any hobby would be that difficult. There really isn't a starting point other than just starting. But I'm talking more so the people asking me, how do I get good at this game? And they do know that. They know that a choice-banded U-turn from Scizor hits really hard. And they also know that physical Toxapex can be funny. But how do they know when to use these moves? How do they learn switching? How do they learn anything other than the bare minimum? And I've put together 5 tips because I get asked the question on more than one occasion. Now, you could probably like read a book about it, I think. And it's a pretty good book from what I've read. But if you just want some like personal tips on how to get better at it as a hobby, and then who knows, maybe one day you'll appreciate this game so much, you'll write an awesome short story.
This game rewards blind luck and nothing else. I'm beyond convinced at this point. After getting completely tooled by schedulers and my opponent changing time zone last minute, refusing to provide confirmation prior to the day.
I'm here to give you the tips that have helped me get better at this game, and if you take them and win an SBL because of it, I'm demanding compensation. So one of the first things that I wrote down is rule number 1, don't be afraid of damage calcs. A lot of people be afraid of calcs. For some reason, this website is like a sin or something. It's like horrible because Nintendo doesn't want you to do it. Why? This is just math, but like on a calculator. That's what it is, a calc. It's a good way to learn if things that you do will do damage that is satisfactory, or if your opponent is going to ream you. And it's good to know these things, because knowing is half the battle. And I don't mean that as just like some kind of spiritual quote. I mean literally just knowing what you're doing is about 50% of what you need to be doing. The other 50% is applying the knowledge that you have and actually doing the things based off of your knowledge. So why wouldn't you bolster your wealth of information? Your cranium, your sacred library of Alexandria that has choice band explosion Metagross calcs in it. Like, why would you not want that novel in your collection? Browser extensions like Shodex really help because not only do they do a lot of the math for you, but they visualize it in a much cleaner way. The Smogon official Showdown calculator is also a very good tool if you just want specific numbers on specific things without having to fiddle around with an automatic extension. It's good not just having this on there, but also trying to memorize some of these calcs, like remembering, oh yeah, this doesn't OHKO me, and I'm faster so I can kill them back. Like, remembering stuff like that is very good, and just keep that point in your back pocket, because the last thing I'm going to go over has to do with what I just said. But anyways, the point is, don't be afraid of using tools offered to you in order to become better. You can calc in tournaments too for Smogon. It's just Nintendo not wanting you to do that, and let's be honest, that's not a good argument to tell someone not to use calcs, because you know what else Nintendo doesn't want you doing? This. Tip number 2. Remember how I said there's so much to learn? Well, even when you are learning the bare minimum, you're still not learning everything. I recommend watching content creators with actual clout to their names. When I say watch content creators, I don't mean watch Verlis and Temp60. Those guys make the weirdest, terrible sets I've ever seen, but also on top of that, they fake a lot of their wins. Verlis is just a general weirdo, and Temp60 is also kind of weird, and almost all of his videos are faked, so you really can't trust them. They're not, you know, reputable. YouTubers like AIM or Blunder, MV, you know, these people that actually get results and know what they're doing, yeah, these are good content creators you should watch. Not just because they're entertaining, but because as you watch them, you're gathering knowledge via osmosis. You're learning things while also being entertained. Shoutouts to Agency. Tip number 3. Putting yourself in the opponent's shoes. Whenever you're put into situations where you feel uncomfortable or you don't feel 100% confident that you're going to 6-0 them, try thinking from your opponent's perspective. What's something that they would really not want to deal with? What's something that they want to do to put themselves in a favorable position or maintain theirs? What's something that you could do that would make them very, very sad and upset? Then do those things. It's very important when you're battling to not just think about what makes you have the advantage, but also think about what makes your opponent have an advantage or disadvantage. This also helps with reading and conditioning the opponent. If I feel my opponent is fearing a certain set that I don't have, I could bluff them into thinking I have that set. One of my favorite things to do with a Pokemon that isn't choice locked is to always switch in on mons that are slower than them and only click one move and then hard switch out, as long as I'm not like leftovers or boots and I don't telegraph that. Because making my opponent think I'm scarfed or banded or something is really, really funny when it turns out I'm not. Number 4, and this is the second most important one in my opinion. Stay conventional. And if you do get creative, try to stay true to the conventional ideas. One of the things that I originally did when I was first playing competitive Pokemon, especially when I was still an adolescent, was I tried making weird, wacky off-meta sets that were so wacky and off-meta they would never work because they were not remaining true to conventional ideas. There's nothing wrong with loading up a very cookie-cutter set of a mon. There's nothing wrong with D-Dance Extreme Speed, Roost, Fire Punch, or Earthquake on a Dragonite. Yes, millions of others are doing it. It's okay for you to as well. If you want to get creative, try staying true to the conventional ideas. What makes Dragonite really good? Well, it's bulky, and it's set up and has priority. If you want to mix it up and not be so predictable, why not use a choice band set? You retain your bulkiness, and retain your priority, and retain your ability to hit things really, really hard without having to rely on Roost and Dragon Dance in order to set up or stay alive, enabling you to become a threat more instantly in battle rather than setting up to become one, which the opponent will more than likely be expecting since D-Dance D-Knight is so popular. You could try being cool and doing like a special Dragonite, because it's bulky and hits really hard. I mean, it seems perfect in rain, doesn't it? Hurricane Stab, has access to Hydro Pump, Stab Draco Meteor is really good, hey, it even has Thunder. But the thing you're forgetting here is that there are other mons that fill this role that you have in mind, and can do things better, or do other things that Dragonite can't do if you want it to fill this niche. Dragonite's really good at a physical set with priority, but if you want something, for example, that's really good in rain, you have a mon like Zapdos, who also has a Stab Hurricane, has currently access to Weather Ball, so in rain you would have a strong water move, also has access to Thunder, which by the way is Stab for him, and has a pivot move in the form of Volt Switch. If really all you're after is just a special mon with Draco Meteor and has a respectable amount of special attack at 100, Dragapult has the exact same special stat, has most of the same special moves that Dragonite has, also retains the Stab Draco Meteor, and is overall faster, and has a pivot move. You have to remember what all of these Pokemon's niches and strengths are, and then use those to your advantage, even when you're doing something off-meta. One of my favorite off-meta sets of all time was a Jolly Choice Scarf Mold Breaker Excadrill. It was because even out of sand, it would outspeed a Scarfed Rotom and Earthquake it to death. One of the most important things, if not the most important tip I have for you, is the wax on, wax off tip. This game is a time sink. How are you supposed to learn all of this stuff in a short amount of time? You can't. So just keep playing, keep losing, keep winning, keep watching the content creators, keep learning your calcs. Remember that? I told you to remember that. Now you remember that. Keep remembering every situation you put yourself in. Keep remembering every way you got out of it, or how you didn't get out of it. And just keep playing. This is like riding a bike. You have to fall off a couple times before you learn how to ride smoothly and perfectly. It will happen, but it does take time. Just keep at it. Now, those are my 5 tips, but the last tip I have is a more general tip. It can be applied to literally every aspect of your life, and it doesn't specifically, like, limit yourself to just this. You just have to always have this on your mind, so I'm not including it in my 5 tips. This is just like a general piece of advice. Just have fun and be happy. There's no point in doing this miserable. If you're getting luck sacked, or you're having a bad day, and you're not feeling any better, going like 0-6 in Ranbats or something, just put the game down and relax and chill yourself out. I've had my moments where I get completely fucking luck sacked, and I literally only lose because of luck, and not because I played bad. In fact, I played perfectly. Nothing positive comes out of me like loading in another match. Until I win, of course. Tip number 6 is to try to be like BKC, by the way. That's the greatest player of all time. You should try to be like BKC.